right? So like,
Is that your phone?
yes,
That's your phone.
that's Bruno Mars.
Oh, really? All right, so we are here today with real estate royalty. South Bay real estate, the legend, the Velvet Hammer.
Yeah, the one that burned the
Lorraine
path.
Velozi O'Connor.
There you are.
Yeah, this is my mother, and I just thought it'd be really fun to sit down and talk with her today and go over her career and some life lessons. How did you start in real estate?
Well, I was in the title insurance business first.
How old were you?
I was 24.
Okay.
I probably started in the title business around 22. I was a rep where you called on real estate brokers.
Right.
And it was a horrible job.
Got it.
Because you'd walk into a real estate office and those realtors would just like, didn't want to talk to you, didn't want to, whatever.
Right.
And then you took them to lunch and then they'd never give you any business. Anyway, I tolerated it for about 2 years. And then I had you. And I said, okay, I'm going to stay home and take care of my little baby.
You were going to be a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, because
Got
your
it.
dad had a decent job.
No, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't know that was like...
It wasn't forever. It was
Right.
just at least for a while.
Got it.
Well, that lasted about 10 minutes. And I thought, oh my God, I got to find something to do other than changing
That was
diapers.
more what I was getting at.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not really your pace.
Right. So
Yeah.
I decided to go into real estate part-time.
Got it.
And so there was a local Century 21
Okay.
up on Sepulveda, and I went in and he said, oh yeah, because I had my license already.
Because of the title thing?
Yes, yes.
Got it.
I went in and started sitting on floor, and before I knew it, now this was 1979, I had a deal here, a deal there. It was like all of a sudden just happening for me.
Like shooting fish in a barrel.
It was crazy. And all these other old ladies
Yeah.
in the office were like, what?
Because you're this young chicken.
Coming in.
Right. People don't know what sitting floor means.
Oh, that means when you sit at your desk and with the phone rings and it's somebody saying, hey, I'm calling on the ad.
The ad or a sign.
Or a sign.
Got
and
it.
then you try to wheel them in.
Right.
So I did that, and I ended up, starting to put deals in escrow. And I remember having a buyer come over to my house to pick up their escrow instructions, and you were in the playpen, and we'd sit around the dining room table, and I mean, kind of got it started in that way.
Right.
So
No cell phones.
none.
Fax
not in-
machines? 79? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. We had to hand carry everything.
Yeah.
Loan docs. If they were down in Orange County, we had to get in our car and drive all the way to Orange County. I mean, there
Yeah.
was nothing like it is today. It was terrible. But I took off like a crazy person and started doing really well. And as you saw at Century 21, you're in my award-winning trophy. And so I just,
Yeah.
and then I went into, there's no such thing as a part-time agent. It's like, no way. Your phone rings at all hours, there's just, so it got to a point where I thought I needed to start putting you into daycare, which I did.
Right.
But you were, 3 or 4, something like that.
Right. Got it.
Anyway, that's
So
how I got
Century,
going.
so give me like just a quick rundown of the progression, like Century 21, then where did you?
Oh, I
'cause
was
you
a
bounce
hopper.
around, yeah.
I was terrible. Because every time you went somewhere, you got a better deal.
Okay.
So I was Century 21, and then I think from there I went to Noble Realty. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember Noble
Yeah.
Realty. And then Noble Realty, I went to Real Estate West. A lot of these places aren't around anymore.
Real Estate West is still
Still cooking?
around. Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Bob Schuman's still in charge.
right. And
Yeah.
then I think I jumped over to Realty Executives. And now that was when...
Well, what about Realty World? Wasn't Realty World before
Oh,
that?
right. That's right. Then we opened up Realty World, and
You were the franchise owner?
yes, I was a co-owner.
Right.
And
manager, co-manager?
and manager and
Right.
trainer. I brought in all these new agents, and I had to teach them how to and what to do
Right.
and how to go after the business.
How big was the brokerage at its
Ours,
peak?
we probably had a good 20 to 25 agents.
Okay.
But they were, a lot of them were slouches. It was
Got
it was really frustrating for me. So it took me away from listing
Right.
property and selling property. I was managing, and I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I sold my portion off, moved over to Realty Executives, and began listing and selling again. And again, just took off. It was 1992 or 93. The market was just
So I'm like in middle school, about
Yeah.
to start high school.
right.
Got it.
So
and you have my sister, obviously.
yeah, then
you're
well,
working
there was
this
a
whole
little
time.
break. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah. There was a little break in
Right.
the early '80s. Your dad got a job up in San Francisco. I thought I'd be supportive,
Right.
even though I was kicking ass down in the real estate biz.
Right.
But I gave it up. Went up there,
Not
and
bitter at all.
and I told him, "You'll get 2 years, and
Yeah.
if we aren't doing great,
Yeah.
that's it." So we rented out Manhattan Beach.
Right.
Rented
Thank
up
God.
there. Yeah, thank God is right. And 2 years to the day.
You moved back.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
funny.
going with or without you. So he came back too, and we went in as partners.
And you had a second child
yeah.
at this time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had
Yeah,
Gina up there in Walnut Creek.
Right.
And so we came back, and then he was my partner for a while, but he didn't care for the business.
Which is interesting because he was a salesperson.
Right.
He just didn't care for the real estate business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it might have been also hard that I was the dominant one,
Right.
and
He kind of came into your arena.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think it worked well. So anyway, Gina was still small, so he did a lot of stay-at-home dad.
Okay.
Yeah, which was,
Very progressive.
yeah, it was. People would see him down at the beach.
Yeah.
They'd see him on the bike with the kids.
Right,
and it
right.
was like,
right.
yeah, I'm schlepping the open house
Yeah.
signs. Anyway, so came back, and that's when we did Realty World. Then I went to Realty Executives. And then Realty Executives, they started when the market was in the tank. And they closed it when the market was just a hair from taking off.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that guy's timing was just a bummer for
Gosh,
him.
Yeah, because you had a good team there.
Yeah,
You had a
yeah.
lot of good brokers there.
Oh, yeah. And I was,
it was like an all-star team.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I remember the guy at the front desk. Was
Oh,
it Jason?
Jason.
Yeah. He was the
very
motorcycle
good.
guy.
Yeah. I wonder
funny.
where he is. He wanted to be an actor.
That's funny.
Anyway, so then when they closed, I got recruited by South Bay Brokers.
Okay.
Went over to South Bay Brokers.
Right.
Then I went over to Keller Williams.
Well, let's stop there
okay.
because I joined you at South Bay Brokers.
That's right.
So my question to you is, did you ever think I would get into the business?
No, if anything, I would have discouraged it because it is such a hard business. People don't think it is. They think it's just easy peasy and, oh, you make so much money. It is, it probably put 10 years on me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So I wouldn't have encouraged you at all. But
you did offer me a job.
Yeah. I said, hey, you can come in and be my assistant.
Right.
And you did.
Right.
And you were really, really kind of good at it.
Okay.
And
Kind of good at it. I'll take it.
yeah, no, it was very good. And then you really started to okay, well, I want to get a little more and I
Right.
want to get a little more. And so before you knew it, we were like even Steven. And then
Right.
you
Well, I remember the first year, especially, I should say, I went on every appointment with you.
right.
Like, I just sat in, and then every showing I drove and you talked to the clients. We actually really enjoyed that part.
Oh, it was my favorite part.
And then every listing appointment, you sitting with sellers and just talking and hearing you with your advice and your rebuttals and your time, all the, professional kind of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
It was quite an opportunity for me.
Yeah.
I always gave you credit for that.
I totally agree, because I
Who
don't
else
know a
gets that
lot
kind
of
of
other
stuff?
people
Yeah.
who took their kid and did
Right,
that,
right.
you know?
And then what you were, and again, more to your credit, what you were good at was being open to my suggestion, especially when it came to like streamlining processes and technology.
Right.
Remember we switched to the phones with the like walkie-talkie feature. But like, you know, I got us on like, you know, more going with like more of the electronic stuff and the
Right.
technology stuff and the paperwork stuff and the docu-signing. We had that iPad, like that pad that you
Oh,
could
right.
sign on it. That was
Yes.
before DocuSign nowadays. And
Yep, yep.
So,
Yeah.
but you were very open to suggestion.
Yeah,
Which
and
I think
to-
made for a good team.
Yeah.
What do you miss about real estate?
Nothing. No. I missed looking at houses. I missed that we had a great rapport with each other when we'd go to brokers' opens and
Yeah.
do stuff. That was one of my favorite things.
It was funny, you know, our relationship has always been like up and down, like right? Like
Right.
it's not like a huge secret. But I remember talking to other people in our family about going to work for you. And they were like, "You're crazy. Like you guys will never like you'll kill each other."
Yeah.
And then it actually was like the best side of our relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh, I totally agree.
yeah.
I can't believe
We
how
worked
well
well
we got. Yeah,
together,
we
yeah.
worked really well. We made good decisions with each other, and
Yeah.
we bounced everything off of each other. And if I dropped the ball, you picked it up, vice versa.
Right.
So yeah, no, it was cool.
Did
It
you
was
ever
great.
wish you did something different besides selling residential real estate?
Not really. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, I loved the chase. I liked, you know, the success of it. I loved a lot of my clients, not
Yeah.
all of them, but a lot of them that
Yeah.
became my friends.
Right.
You know, and that's something I miss. I
Yeah.
miss the friendships that I
You did
had.
make friends with
Lot
a lot of your clients.
Yeah, I did.
It's funny, you had a nickname. Do you remember your nickname in our local industry?
The Velvet Hammer.
Yeah. The Velvet Hammer. You're like
think-
soft at first, but then you clobber people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started in the business, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're Lori's son? Like, she's a tiger." But it was like a respectful thing. They're like, "Holy cow, does she fight for like what she wants or her clients or whatever?" It genuinely like was always like out of, you know, appreciation, or it was just like, but they're like, "You don't want to be on her bad side."
Yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
some agents that got on my bad side.
No, I mean, you and I, we have a short blacklist.
Yeah, we do.
You know, but it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot worse reputations to have.
Yeah. I was never
Yeah.
a cheater or any of
Yeah.
that. So
I would say like a lot of people, you know, I've learned that your reputation as a real estate agent amongst other real estate agents is extremely valuable. I mean, it helps you succeed.
Right.
Because agents want to work with people they A, can trust, B, know
that
what,
don't cause problems.
right, know what they're doing.
Right.
Or like give you the heads up on a potential problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's about, you know, working together once you're in the deal.
Right.
So that you both can maintain your relationships with your clients and look like professionals.
Absolutely. I agree.
One thing that I've really feel as a real estate professional is that, you know, we provide a lot of value in our advice and in our guidance and in our ability to evaluate properties and stuff like that. Because especially around here, we're not selling tract homes, you know.
Right.
Every house is different. Did you feel like that? Did you feel like you were truly providing like a service, like, you know, you weren't just like a salesperson? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? More
Yeah.
of like an advisor.
Absolutely. I even have people that are who weren't my clients. I mean, in other areas, and that have asked me, what should I do? And I go, if you can afford to buy a property, you really, really should. And I'm here to say, yeah, look at the properties that we have.
Yeah.
Because I was always a little hesitant and nervous
Right.
about, getting over my head.
Right.
But
Do you wish you bought more property?
oh gosh, yes. Everybody, especially when they were 300,000 and 400,000 in the hill section.
Right.
So, of course, but it was all relative.
Right.
I was not making the money you guys make today, and the price, but you
right.
have to because of the prices
Right.
of real estate. It's gone through the
Price
roof.
of everything.
Yeah.
It kind of touched on this, but like if somebody comes to you, I'm kind of repeating it, but clarifying the question, like you've been through all different markets.
Right.
Right? So right now we're seeing extremely competitive buyer's market, multiple offers, right?
Right.
Very little homes for sale, but interest rates are ticking up.
Mm-hmm.
They're still only 5%.
Right. That's still ridiculous.
Yeah. So if a family member, a friend is coming to you and like, do you think I should buy, like, or should I wait for it to cool off? Like, what's your advice to them?
If they can afford to buy it without getting over their head,
Yeah.
I would definitely tell them to
Yeah.
get in because, one, the interest rates are still so attractive. But two, even though you're paying what you feel is top dollar or a high price, it's still in the long run gonna make you a bunch of money.
Yeah.
It's just a great, solid investment. Yes, it will go down, but yes, it will come back up.
Yeah. You can't go wrong if you're playing for the long term.
Right. And I'd rather have my money in real estate than in the stock market.
I'm the same exact way.
Yeah.
And I just, it's like, it is what I know, right?
Right.
And I feel more comfortable investing. I do believe in diversification and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I just feel like, hey, this is like, this is what we know. Mm-hmm. Going back to your real estate career, what are a couple attributes or one, main attribute do you think made you successful?
I was a hard worker. I got up and worked and worked and worked, and it paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't sit around and hope that the phone would ring. And,
Right.
And just, I went and did open houses, which were my very favorite.
Right.
Because you got a chance to be in front of someone instead of on the phone with someone.
Right.
And I was very successful at,
Were you a door knocker?
no,
Yeah.
I tried it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't my style. So, yeah, I tried.
And so most of your business came from things like open houses, maybe sign calls, ads.
Right,
But a lot was repeat referral.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love referrals.
Still to this day.
To this day. I also had a little, what you call a farm.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a little neighborhood that I just, penetrated with,
Right.
information and.
I used to pass out flyers for you.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then turkeys. And,
Yeah.
I mean, we had all kinds of little fun gimmicks,
Right.
but people got to know us.
Yeah.
And that was I would get called in that neighborhood from people, and it happened several times, that would say, listen, we're going to sell our house, but we have a realtor. But we value your opinion because we know you know what's going on in here.
Right.
And I would say, hey, no problem. And I'd
Yeah.
go over and tell them what I thought it was worth and what have you. And
Wow.
that was flattering, actually.
Yeah.
And I liked that they were upfront about,
Yeah, that makes all the difference.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding. So anyway, so
Yeah.
that was that.
If you're advising a younger real estate person today, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
I think I gave to my son-in-law,
Okay. He's a real estate
who's
professional.
now a real estate professional. If you work hard, you can't help but make it.
Yeah.
And so back to that again, I was a hard worker. It's just, you have to work at it.
This industry, probably more than most, recognizes that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Do you think there's an added layer of motivation because there's no like steady paycheck?
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I have a story about when, I can't remember what year it was, but we had horrendous rains.
Okay.
I remember sitting in my office and just watching the sheets of water come down the window, and there was nothing you could do.
Right.
You couldn't show property, nothing. And that was in January.
Yeah.
And I did not get a paycheck until the end of May. So that was like 6 months
Right.
without a paycheck.
Yeah.
And then,
Those are fun times.
so, people don't realize.
How'd you not kill yourself?
Yeah.
It's like raining every day,
Oh,
and
it's-
like no money coming in.
Exactly.
Mortgage to pay,
Oh, it
probably
was
kids to
horrible.
feed.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Sounds like a good time.
Somebody told me
Jesus.
that you need to have 6 months put away
Yeah.
just for those
Right.
dry time or wet times.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, no, people don't realize that about realtors, is that you can go into some
Yeah.
slumps and not have any business for
Yeah.
a while, and it's it's painful.
Yeah. Is there any mistakes you made that you wish you hadn't or like would redo?
I just wish I was a little bit more even keeled.
A little more velvet and less hammer?
Things would just get to me, and I just go over the top.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And people who, lied to you, or they didn't tell you the truth, or there was just,
Right.
stuff like that just made me a nutcase.
Yeah.
So those are the mistakes that I wish I could
Yeah.
rewind.
Nowadays, they put a lot of emphasis on being in better health, physically and mentally,
Right.
so that you can better perform and better deal with the stresses of the job.
Right.
Now, did you, make at all a priority when you were working?
Oh yeah, I back in the day there was the Manhattan Club for Women, and it was a fitness center for
All-women's
just
club,
women,
yeah.
and it was awesome. And we'd go and do aerobics and all kinds of different classes. And I also was a runner. Your dad got me into running, and I even ran a half marathon, was the furthest I've done.
Same for me.
And so, yeah, exercise was always in my wheelhouse. And then, and I didn't do much drinking back in those days. Now I drink like a fish, but then I didn't. So I didn't have that interference. And I don't know if I always ate right, but,
Yeah.
and today I feel real healthier than I've ever felt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's the alcohol talking.
yeah. Well, I'm just waiting for that drink.
All right. So where are you now? You're retired now. You've been out of the business, gosh.
12 years.
Has it been 12?
Wait,
I mean,
maybe not. Maybe 10 or 11.
Okay.
I'm kind of going on when I moved to
yeah.
the island.
And so where do you live now?
I live in Maui, and I moved there because my daughter, your sister,
Yeah, I know.
got pregnant, got married, then got pregnant, and I thought, I was making you work more, and I
Right.
was working less.
Right.
And you finally said, Mom, I think it's time for you to wrap it up. And then I thought, okay, I'll move over there because I could help her with the babies and
Right.
what have you. So that's what I did, and I've been there ever since.
Got it.
Yeah. Now
Not a
I'm-
bad thing.
No, not a bad thing at all.
And the real estate you own is helping support your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So
I have
you-
some here in California. I have some over there on the island, and
Right.
it's I highly recommend people to get into real estate because it's the reason why I have a somewhat comfortable life.
Right.
Yeah.
What was your craziest escrow?
Oh, I had several, but let's see. Let me kind of thumb through. I already kind of told you about the ones that took 6 months. Okay.
Yeah, but wasn't there something about that deal? Wasn't it tied to like a
Oh,
bunch?
there was 5 deals contingent on each other.
So you hadn't done a deal for 6 months.
Right.
Then the deal you get in is literally tied to 5 other deals.
Right. And the one in the middle.
How does it even happen?
Well, again, it was a tough market, and
Okay.
and so in those
And
days,
so it was literally like, I'll sell my house if I can buy this house,
Right.
and down the line.
exactly.
Wow.
And when you're in a tough market,
And is
They'll
every
take
deal with different agents?
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was on a couple two-sided ones in
Okay.
that fivesome, but for the most part, yes, there were several other agents, and even the buyers and sellers were just like blown away that we were able to pull it off. But
Wow.
one guy in the middle started going sideways, and so if he crashed, the whole thing was
Right.
going to go. So it was,
Did you break out the hammer?
yes. Anyway, it ended up closing, but so that was a tricky one. And then, but the one that always stands out in my head is I had this doctor who I had sold his house and he was buying another house, and he was a pilot,
Oh, okay.
and he just flew planes for fun. He wasn't like a commercial pilot, and he was scheduled to fly over the Grand Canyon to go somewhere to pick up his daughter, I think, something like that. This is years ago. And so we did the inspection before he left, and
So he's in escrow to buy something.
right, he's in escrow on the one he wants to buy, and we did the inspection, and when the inspection came back, it said that there was some asbestos in the house. Now, asbestos was a big deal back then.
It was like mold nowadays.
Now,
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm on the phone with him, and he's like going, oh, asbestos, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, and he's all freaking out. And it was not even a big part of asbestos. It was a little tiny bit.
Got it.
I'd seen a whole lot worse. And I said to him, we can call out the guys in the outfits and the whole thing, but I'm just telling you, you're not going to die from asbestos. And he's quiet on the phone, and he said, okay, well, I'll just talk to you when I get back. And I said, okay. And he took off, got in his airplane, and crashed in the Grand Canyon.
Oh my God.
I talked to him that night, and it was on the news first thing in the morning.
Oh my God.
It was so unbelievable. And when I thought, and I said, you're not going to die from asbestos, how bizarre is that?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
one that really stood out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I tried to keep the family in the deal, but nobody was having it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Wow.
lost the deal.
I've never had that happen.
No. No, the ones that stands out is those realtors that we had they were new and they were stupid and they drove me crazy during the whole escrow. So it was coming to an end. We were ready to get closing. And so it was the day that, let me see, I've forgotten how these things, it was the day before we're closing. And the agents show up at our office.
Yeah.
And come in and they go, well, we came to get the keys. And I says, I'm not giving you the keys. It doesn't close till tomorrow. I'm not handing over any keys until the deal closes. And they said, oh, we heard you were a bitch. And I went nuts and started yelling at them and told them to get the out of my office. And
Wow.
Didn't give them the keys till the next day when it closed. So they weren't trustworthy. There's agents you would,
Right.
but they were not capable of
Yeah.
getting the keys beforehand. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that was one of my over the toppers.
Yeah. Do you happen to remember the most expensive house you ever sold?
Well, one of my very first listings was on the Strand
Oh, wow.
in South Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
I think it was 708 the Strand.
Holy cow.
And we're talking 1979, maybe 1980, but I think 1979. And it was for $639,000, which was like, wow.
God.
So then moving up through time, before there was ever, you never heard of $1 million house in
Right.
Manhattan Beach yet. So this had to be in the 90s.
Right.
And I had gone to a psychic. I used to love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You went to a lot of psychics.
I did. And so I remember going
Weren't happy with the first answer. So just kidding, sorry.
So anyway, I went to this psychic, and I remember her telling me that I was going to be really successful. I was going to get a real big deal from an Asian buyer. And it was like, oh, I didn't really think so. But
Right.
anyway. And then a couple months later, I got a call from an Asian guy who was an investment banker.
Okay.
And he wanted to put an offer in on a house, and it was $1.3 million. And I was dancing around the office. Remember Mickey Rowan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
I'd go in his office and dance around. And I go, $1.3 million. Can you believe $1.3 million?
Did you put the deal together?
I did.
Oh my God.
I did. So
That's
that was,
funny.
I think, one of my biggest deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
great. Like, what was do you happen to remember, like, approximate, like, how many deals a year you used to do, or?
Oh, yeah, I did. I really, and back then it was a lot, but I would do anywhere from 25 to 35 deals a year.
Okay.
So,
And what was your bread and butter? Like, did you focus on just Manhattan Beach, or were you all the South Bay? Or
I was all the South Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, I sold over in Torrance, and I sold.
did you do PV?
I did PV.
Yeah.
In fact, I still have clients up in PV that have never moved.
Yeah.
And they've been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
I even went to the San Fernando Valley one time. Remember, we sold a property for Heather out in Woodland Hills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm really proud. I'm actually extremely proud of how well Dan has done in the business and how good he is and how he is so much more even keel with clients. And, you know, even though I'm sure he brings the stress into his body, but you work out a ton to try to relieve that.
I do drink a lot too.
But he does drink a lot. You see the wine back there?
Oh,
Oh, it's gone. Darn. There was like 12 bottles back there.
You brought those.
Yeah, I know. I'm staying for a while. Anyway,
We'll
so
see
no,
about
my dad was a building contractor. In fact, he built the Bank of America here on Hermosa Avenue. Remember that? Me telling you that?
I have been dying to go to the city and see if, like, the permit card's
Oh,
on
you've
file.
got to.
I don't
You know,
know.
he also built the Vons in Manhattan Beach.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And he was telling me how back then the lots on the Strand were $500 or
Right.
something crazy. So, so he was a builder. And so it kind of felt sort of natural to like roll into the real estate
Right.
business, even though my parents had, you know, they were up and down with real estate, and I should have been afraid. And then my dad was also commissioned kind of worker, and again, I should have been afraid
Right.
to work on commission and
Yeah.
not have that solid job. And I don't know, I just stayed focused. And I remember standing in the shower going, okay, I can do this. I can do this. You know, giving myself a little pep talks. I remember when I bought our house on 9th Street.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
$539,000.
Right.
And again, that was a huge amount of money.
Right.
And I remember going, I can do this. I can do this. And
I remember the story, and correct me if I'm wrong. We'll cut it out if I am.
okay.
But we owned on 9th Street, and like one of your favorite houses came up on the North Hermosa Strand.
Oh, yes.
And the story always went like the 9th Street house was worth like just say like $600,000 at the time, and the Strand house was like $800,000 at the time.
$850.
Yeah, and
But it was a dump.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
But I just remember you telling the story like I just couldn't stretch that difference of
I know.
$250,000 in a mortgage.
If I had
No, I
someone,
get it.
you
I
know,
know.
to pull me through those things, I
Yeah.
didn't have that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that Strand property would have been worth a lot.
oh. But here's a fun little tiny story that I remember when your dad and I bought our first house with $10,000 down.
It's crazy.
And they carried a 10% second, but our interest rate was 13% on the first and 18% on the second. And it was in Manhattan Beach, where you were born, the house. And I remember paying $79,000. And so after we bought it, I then told my mom I bought this house, and she was like, "What? Oh my God, you spent that kind of money? What are you talking? Oh my God." And I go, "Mom, you know, one day this house is going to be worth $100,000. And she said, "Pfft." And I sold it for $132,000.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I didn't have the support that I wish I
Right,
had,
right.
that I try to give to you when you
Right.
come up with an idea and I go,
Yeah.
"Hey, I like that one."
Yeah, that one.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm glad we did this at the beginning of your trip
yeah.
as opposed to the end of your trip,
Why
where you overstay your welcome. I owe you so much for my career. I tell everybody that, and I know I had a huge advantage being able to work for you and learn from you, and I just appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome,
Thank you.
because you've taken the ball and run with it. So,
Well, thanks.
yeah. I wonder if your kids will do it.
They definitely won't.
That's what I thought.
Famous last words, right?
I could see Declan.
Yeah, that guy can sell ice
Oh,
to an ice
jeez,
Eskimo.
you're not kidding.
Yeah.
He caught me up in the bedroom and and I thought, how am I going to get out of here?
He's got a lot to say.
Yeah, he does.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy.
Aw.
Yeah. And funny.
I am
And
funny.
I think he gets a little of that from me.
Now that's funny.